my question to you is, what would it take for you to do the things that you need to do to be better?
This conversation, I think.
Okay. The gods put us together for a reason, right? The golf god said, he'll only listen to Alfonso.
It's true. It's actually true.
Let's get him on the docket.
Foreplay presented by Barstool. By Barstool Sports. Brought to you by our great friends at Chevy. Chevy.com/electric. We'll talk more about Chevy later. We got our good friend Alfonso Ribeiro on this show. Had him on a handful of times. Now, the first time we had him on, he was a little bit Jake Owen-esque, where he was just incredible. He was into it. He's telling stories. He's way more analytical and deep thinking about golf and life than you would ever guess with the whole deal. So Alfonso's on in the second half of the show. We got a little Fixing Frankie video coming out today. So if you're listening on Thursday, October 5th, 2023, Fixing Frankie. The next episode of Fixing Frankie is coming out. So our boy might be in Italy posting all kinds of Instagram stories about his homeland and his lovely honeymoon, which he deserves. But the grind never sleeps. So he's on YouTube this afternoon, Fixing Frankie, the brain, the whole deal. Frankie has literally gone from a disastrous 10 handicap to a sick 5 handicap, and probably only going to get lower even if you watch the Ryder Cup stuff. Where Dave was getting in his head, he stripes the ball, he hits unbelievable chips under pressure. He has really just fucking turned the corner in an amazing way, and Fixing Frankie is obviously a documentation of that whole thing.
Yeah, so watch that. This honeymoon is his Super Bowl of Instagram stories. This guy, he loves putting music to Insta stories, and he's great at it. He's like the John Williams of Insta stories and music. He's going to use every single Italian song that has ever been created on this Italian honeymoon. He's already ripping, dude. He's already ripping.
How long did he have that Coliseum tweet planned out for?
Oh, he told me about that 10 months ago.
I feel like I remember him telling us it's no Nassau Coliseum. He had that in the drafts, I think.
Oh, he definitely did. So he got that one off. That was a good tweet. But yeah, no, he's enjoying himself. The Italy is beautiful. I've never been. I will hope to go one day, but his Insta stories, just know, I mean, he's a great picture taker. Every time him and I are in the same place, we'll take the same picture, put up the same Insta story, and I'll end up taking mine down because his is so much better than mine. So it's a fun follow if you want to watch a guy gallivant around Italy for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I got an issue with my Instagram stories that I've had for, I don't know, a year and a half, which is that I just can't use music that's real music. And
100%, it's infuriating.
I talked to Frankie about it a while ago, and he's like, yeah, it's crazy. You gotta look it up, and then you gotta delete the app, change your profile from a business account back to a personal account, which I'm like, fine. I just want to be able to do the music thing. And I literally cannot do it. It's impossible. I tried to delete Instagram for 2 days and then re-download it a couple days later, tried the whole deal. It's impossible. It's like once you switch to a professional account, I guess, then you don't have access to legitimate music. You only have access to this dog shit music, fucking banked, generic music that they have the rights to or whatever. And so I just can't. So the only way I do it now is I use my TikTok account and I upload a video just for myself to see, then download it onto my phone, save it, then upload it back onto Instagram. But Instagram found out about this, and they clearly put something in there in the back end where when you uploaded it, uploads choppy so that you can't do that. And so then I took a screen record of the video with all the music and then have to save it, edit it, post it to my Instagram story, which you can do, but it takes 15 minutes to do all that shit.
It might have something to do with being verified, because I just looked. Frankie's not verified. You're verified, Riggs. I'm verified. And I took it to social media Chuck, who runs a lot of our social channels. What's that?
I'm verified.
Can you do it?
Me too. All right. Do you have music?
I have not tried.
Oh, all right. So we're verified. I bet you don't.
Try.
If you're verified with a lot of followers, I think there's some sort of issue with the artists, or these people are just using our music. I don't know if that's true or not, but all I'm saying is I want to be able to post real music on my Insta stories, because it makes your life so much easier. If you're just posting a video of something cool, as opposed to there being A, no sound, or B, the natural sounds where it's not that great, you can put fucking Drake's trophies to it. And it's this is the best story I've ever seen in my life.
Totally. It makes it sick. You could do it with photos. Frankie even does it with photos, where it's it just makes the viewing of the photo. You don't want to leave the photo because you got this nice tune, the whole deal. So it's driving me crazy. So if anybody out there knows what the fuck to do to get good music back, it's been over a year that I just can't do it. And I have to do the whole TikTok thing, which absolutely sucks. I got a new segment we're going to do today. Brand new segment idea.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hit. I'm going to introduce that in a little bit. It might be a dud. If it's a dud, then we just won't do segments anymore. We've only done one segment in the history of the show, I think, and it's called From the Gallery, and we do it like once every 6 weeks. So if we have another one, that would be great. Oh, you got a cat there? Dog?
No, this is
Dog.
a little puppy. His name is Frank. He's our neighbor's dog, but our neighbor works a lot, so he's been hanging out at our house a lot. He's so
Is that a little French bulldog?
Yeah, he's designed. We call him a limited edition because he's designer as fuck. Like like this, you know what I mean? People pay extra for this coat. So this is Frank.
All right.
What's up, Frank?
Hey, Frank. Hello, Frank. That's a good dog name. I like the name Frank. There's one trusted brand out there that's got the fantastic, iconic bow tie. They've been making elite vehicles for a century, which is incredible. Think about what's going on a century ago. Think about how different the world was. Really, technology almost didn't even exist, yet these guys were doing it. Chevy, Chevrolet, and now they've been in the electric car game for a decade, okay? You might, again, think like electric cars are new. Electric cars are only the last couple of years you've been seeing commercials for electric cars. Nope. Chevy's been doing it for a decade. You should go to chevy.com/electric. Check it all out. Check out their options. Check out the innovation. Check out that bow tie mixed with the top level, top tier, most recent technological advances. And you've got chevy.com/electric. They've always been there for you before. Who better to take you into the next phase of electric vehicles than Chevy?
You know, you buy a gas car and it's kind of the same old. You know, you tell your friend, "Oh, I got a gas car." They're like, "Oh, nice, cool." You buy an electric car and people are going to, you know, that's your friends. It's going to catch your attention.
Eyebrows are raising,
Yes.
and Chevy's doing it. So they've been selling hybrids and all electrics, like I said, for over a decade. They're trusted. They're great. They're Chevy. They're the bow tie. Learn more right now at chevy.com/electric. And a big thanks to Chevy. They've been supporting us for a long time now in a big way. So chevy.com/electric. I want to talk about October. I think October is the best month in the most places in the country that there is. I think it's just, we kind of debate every year, I feel like, between April and October. I like October. I know you guys have been getting pelted with rain relatively recently in the New York area, but generally I feel like April, obviously it fucking rains. It's the springtime, April and May showers, the whole deal. You got the Masters, you got springtime. People are excited to be out of the winter. You've got usually like March Madness is finishing up. You got baseball starting, like April's great. You got like hockey playoffs are starting, NBA playoffs are starting. April's amazing. But I think pure weather-wise, it's pretty dry. It's like 70s. It's sunny. Football's on. Halloween, fall foliage, colors. I think October for me is numero uno.
There's nowhere where October sucks. April,
Exactly.
I think, in like Rochester, New York, or even like Chicago, can still be pretty cold, and the golf courses haven't quite grown in yet. So yeah, I would say October. I think the next 10 days in New York are supposed to be perfect.
Is the question where it's the nicest for the vast majority of the population? Because then it definitely is October, I think.
I think so. I think like even in Arizona, it's not too hot right now. It's beautiful. Even in, like you said, like Rochester, New York, you're going to get some crisp days and stuff, but I still think it's beautiful. Down in Florida, it's still a little bit hot, but I think it's not as humid and it's beautiful. And so I just think pretty much coast to coast, baby. I think it's beautiful as it gets in the most places in October.
I think you're right about that. I mean, I love it. It's the couple days where you wake up and there's the decision of, do I need to wear a hoodie? Do I not need to wear a hoodie? Is it crew neck? Like, that is a fun decision to make because it gets a little bit chilly. And I just, as a bigger guy, I love hoodies. I don't like hot weather. Summer to me, more and more, the more I think about it, like, it's not my favorite. Like, I feel like growing up, you would say summer because there was no school. But now that I'm an adult and every day is the same in terms of what I have to do, I'm more like, I want to be comfortable. I don't want to just be hot. And summer is just hot. So October it's a winner for sure.
Yeah, we're taking advantage of a perfect October day tomorrow. Brendan Jones is getting his Quaker Ridge Golf Club debut tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
It's a big day. I'm leaving the East Coast in about 3 weeks now. So we're trying to get him in as much as we can. And Brendan and I have been working on it, and he's been so busy, but he finally found like a little pocket. So we're going to play like at 3:00 tomorrow. It's a big round. There's a lot of pressure on Jonesy tomorrow. He's got to
Ridge do their background check and everything. He's good.
Yeah,
Make sure he
background
can
check.
get out there.
They double checked on a little incident that he had in college, but I told them that listen, he's grown a lot as a person since then.
Yep. No unsavory behavior out there, Brendan Jones.
Dan, how do you move
Keep it tight.
all of your stuff from one coast of the country to another coast of the country?
Well, shout out to Emma's new law firm, Simpson
Okay.
Thatcher. They are paying for it. So
Nice.
they have a relocation service where it's direct billing. So we don't even have to pay and then like get reimbursed. They just use a mover thing. So we got she's a fancy big law. So you basically just open the door and supervise, and they do basically the rest of it for you. But this shocks me, and I feel like Riggs, I feel like you'll like this. They quoted us to move, right? Like when they'll deliver the stuff. They give you a 2-day window for when they're going to pick up the stuff, which, okay, that's fine. For when they deliver the stuff, 6 to 22 days later. So we're fine because my parents live in California, so we'll just stay with my parents for a little bit.
They got to give you a tighter window. Even if it's 22 days, like tell me it's going to be 21 or 22 days. You can't.
So
Dan, it's going to be there in a week or a month, pal. A week or a month.
That's what I'm saying. So for people who don't have parents who are living in like the other location that they're moving to, I don't know how the fuck you move.
So when I did it, big shout out to Pat Perez. Pat Perez actually gave me a moving guy that was like, and he's like, this guy will give you like the family rate. And it was still expensive. It was like $2,800 or something, but I did nothing. Like they literally went to my place in New York. This was during the pandemic. Went to my place in New York, acquired all my stuff. It took about 2 to 3 weeks, I think, is what it was. So I think they gave me a tighter window than that, but it took about the same amount of time. But I don't know. Yours might only take 6 days. Who the fuck knows? But they grabbed all my shit. They moved it across the country, and then they just installed it basically into my new place. You tip them a little bit, a couple $100 for the movers or whatever. It's like 3 guys, and you don't do literally anything. Now that's pretty expensive, but like $3,000 or so to move my whole life from one side of the country to the other without me having to do anything. I felt like it was a pretty goddamn good bargain. I feel like I should have paid $8,000-$9,000 or something like that.
Paying for movers, if you can do it, it's the best thing you can do. Because I did that when I moved out of the city to Long Island. And I think I've told the story before, but I didn't want to do anything. I was at the point where I don't want to ask anybody to do anything. I don't want to ask any of my friends, or I don't want to put that burden on them to help me move. And I don't want to pack up anything. I wanted my stuff to teleport from New York City out to Long Island. And I asked the guys when I was on the phone with them, like, do you guys have an option where you walk into my apartment, you walk into a fully furnished apartment where nothing is boxed up and nothing is wrapped up? Will you guys pack all that stuff and move it? And they were like, yeah, it's going to be an extra like $200. And it's the best $200 I've ever spent. Paying for movers is the fucking best. And you're stimulating the economy. So
every study says that paying for convenience has the highest payoff. More so than like a crazy experience or any sort of like material item. Paying to make your life easier, and everybody knows, especially if you've moved in the summer in New York City, everybody knows the unique misery that is the sweat on your body when you're unpacking a box. So I completely agree.
Yeah, I think that's right. You probably save years on your life too, because you're just losing out on stress, or you're missing out. You're dodging stress, which stress is a killer. So you don't want any of that. So I agree. Pay for convenience, do the whole deal. But yeah, doing it across country is crazy to think about too. It's like gas for that long, like wear and tear on the truck. The fact that you have to, like, those guys, somebody has to drive the fucking thing. A couple people have to drive it all the way. They have to load it into another truck, like Tetris style, like they're an Amazon driver and probably with somebody else's stuff and move it. It's a whole fucking thing. So the fact that they can do that, it's amazing. It's worth paying for. I agree.
I'd almost sooner buy all new shit. Like I have no sentimental attachment to any of my things.
Well, you're the richest person in the world.
That's true. I am the richest person in the world. So it's nothing to me, but I would sooner buy all new. Like I have, like, is there anything in your apartment? I guess it's not. Like, is there anything that you can't live without? Like, for me, there's nothing in my apartment that I can't live without. Now, it would be easier probably to move it, but I could just start all over again and it wouldn't matter that much to me.
I think that's right. I would think almost like a hoarder in moments that, like, oh, I need this. If you just threw all of it away, it wouldn't change my life at all. And with the amount of merchandise that we do, they send us samples and, like, go to store.Barstool Sports stuff, by the way, get these hoodies. Like, you wouldn't even blink, and in a month, you would have a full wardrobe 3x over, and you wouldn't even realize it. You'd just be wearing different stuff than you were wearing a month before. So yeah, you could just throw everything away. I don't think I would even notice.
Speaking of me being the richest man in the world, which I am, I recently acquired a Peloton bike that I've been using, and those things, I tell you what, they're hard. They're hard.
Do you have an instructor that you're going with?
I've been going with Kendall Tool so far.
Okay.
Because I think she's like the most popular one. She does all different types of rides. I've done 3 rides so far, so I'm an expert. And I've been using, I think, Kendall Tool. And yeah, it's really hard. I hope I can stick with it, but it's fucking really, really hard.
Is there any world in which you would have a go-to male instructor?
I'm sure there is.
There's this guy, Alex Toussaint, but he's really hard. But Justin Thomas loves him, but he's really hard.
Yeah, I think there definitely is. I haven't used it enough to know, but the motivation part really does work. And it that's always the biggest part for me when I go to the gym. I'm like, I'm just going to run on this treadmill like a rat on a wheel like that. I'm going to get bored of that and I'm going to quit.
I could just not run on this treadmill. That's easier.
Right. But then when you've got these instructors who are like, it's crazy motivation, but when you're like, it's motivation where if you heard it, if we listen to it right now, you'd be like, that's super lame. There's a bunch of cliches that you're throwing out. But when you are sweating on a bike and you're 23 minutes into a 30-minute ride, it's gospel. It's fucking gospel when you're listening to it. So I haven't dipped my toe too much into the male instructor world, but I will. I have no problem with that. I actually think they would probably, like, as a guy who played football and had, male football coaches, I bet that would just take me back to that time. And I'd be like, let's just fucking keep doing this.
Okay. Hell yeah. I'm happy. That's great, Trent. I saw that tweet. How many days you been consistently committing here?
I was at 3 days in a row. I'm not gonna be able to do it today because I'm at the office and I'm going to see John Mayer tonight at Madison Square Garden. But yeah, it's actually good. I'm getting a day off because my legs are so tired. I probably need a break, but I'm gonna try to do like 3 to 4 times a week is going to be my goal.
I saw him. I think it was the same tour. I saw him at the Forum in LA in August. It was awesome. I loved it. Big John Mayer fan.
The acoustic tour where it's just like solo. He's just playing his guitar. I cannot wait. And shout out to Game Time.
That's going to be great.
I'm very excited for that. So
they're the best.
Yep.
A couple of current events going on in the golf world. The Xander Schauffele story that broke like the day after the Ryder Cup, kind of in typical U.S. fashion. Whenever the U.S. loses over in Europe, there's always something, at least a few things that come out afterwards. This is pretty in line with some of the stuff. It was way more targeted. It was his father, Stefan. Is that his father's name?
Yeah, yep. Stefan. And he did say though, before you continue, that like, I don't speak for Xander, which I think is important to note. He was like, Xander's about to be 30 years old and like he has his own opinions.
So we've had the two of them on the show together before a few years ago. We did a podcast interview with both of them, and I was texting with Dan a little bit. Like, they have a weird relationship, like a very weird relationship. And Xander has made comments before where it, like JT and his father clearly are insanely tight. He's an instructor. Like, even when the comments came out or the reports came out a month or so ago about them like not really working together anymore, they laughed that off. They're just clearly tight. Stefan Schauffele is clearly around, but they strike me as a little bit of an abrasive relationship at times. His father clearly is more like he's more interesting than Mike. I believe it's Mike Thomas. Is that his father's name? JT's dad.
Yes, Mike Thomas.
Clearly, like, more interesting with like the fedoras and the outfits, and he's he's a little bit more out there, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. But they strike me with that part of his comments being like, I don't speak for Xander, of like, that's exactly right, where he's kind of he's a little bit putting stuff out there, saying things that aren't necessarily speaking for Xander, but then it's like, well, then why are you talking to anyone or a reporter or whatever? Like, why are you talk about your own life? Like, what's going on here? So that always has struck me as a little bit of a bizarre relationship. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But the report came out that was basically like Xander nearly got kicked off the team a few weeks before because they were essentially fronting and voicing their concerns, issues with not getting paid, which we already gave our takes on, and they weren't getting much back. And then Seth Waugh, it sounds like, got caught wind of it, got whatever done that needed to be done, and then Xander ended up not being an issue, was on the team, and rah, rah, rah. We already, again, gave our takes on this, which is that if literally nobody was getting paid or making money or profiting off of the Ryder Cup, then I would pretty much demand that the players not asked to be paid. That would be ridiculous. But the fact that everybody's commercializing it, everybody's pretty much getting paid that's involved with it, except the players, then I have no issues with the players being like, out of principle, this is ridiculous. We are the reason the Ryder Cup is the Ryder Cup. We want to get paid. I have no issue with that. And it sounds like Stefan actually said that in some of the quotes that I read reading through this article, where he was like, if everybody agreed to just give all of the money to charity, then we would have no issue and we would just donate the money to charity or whatever. But that's clearly not the case. Everybody else is fucking profiting. Why would we be ridiculous and like wanting to be profiting as well?
Yeah, it was interesting. Last week at the Ryder Cup, we were kind of talking in the media center about like, how would you explain this hat thing to someone who has no idea about golf. And I think it all goes back to what just happened.
I just threw my iced coffee, which is finished, into the trash can. I made it.
Oh, nice work.
Fucking buckets over there.
It sounded like a splash.
There's still a little bit of ice in there. So
yeah. I think it all goes back to Live and the Saudi stuff, where it's just shined this whole light on the golf business that I think everyone just sort of had their head down, and there was like a state of inertia of like, this is just kind of how it is. This is kind of how it's been. And no one really asked questions because there's no impetus and there's no leverage to be had. There's none of this stuff. So now you have the Saudis who have come in, and literally everything in golf is being reevaluated when it comes to money and where the money goes and how much of it goes where. And the players have more power now than they've ever had. I mean, Brooks Koepka, incredible troll job that night, post that picture of, I think it was him, Homa, Burns, and I think it was Xander in Smash t-shirts, Smash Golf Club t-shirts. Max Homa has like been like the most pro PGA Tour guy of all time. Sam Burns is like Louisiana Americana. They're not going. But even just doing that is like sort of a reminder to the powers that be that like we still have this option and we still have this leverage. And I just think it's been a very interesting last couple of years from a financial standpoint, where all of these things that were behind closed doors and never really spoken about are now just way out there in the open.
yeah, I mean, I think too that picture was probably just a bunch of drunk guys hanging out, and Brooks Koepka was like, "Why don't you throw on these T-shirts and take a picture?" People go nuts. They're like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it. We're in Rome. Who cares?" Which is great. That's kind of what they should be doing. Everybody's taking everything a little bit too seriously. So yeah, good for them. But yeah, I mean, on this whole issue, I think you're spot on. It's just like people were taking more of people were kind of forced into taking more of a detailed look at the money situation. And everybody handles everything differently. Everybody has different opinions on everything, which is fair, as they should. But, like John Rahm, for example, has pretty much voiced that like he cares way more about them getting more porta potties out there on the tour than he does about where his money's going. And like, and whereas a Patrick Cantlay type figure clearly cares about where every dollar and cent is going. And that's why he's got Goldman Sachs on his hat, and they're different. So that's fine being different and whatnot. The optics are going to stink, and they just do. And it's kind of infuriating. Like, it makes me want to be on their side because people are so on the other side without using their brains, like we said, which is like, yes, in an ideal utopian world, they would just play for the pride of the sport and competition, and it's great, and most of them do, and they did. Like, they fucking played. Cantlay played amazing. He cared. He was fist pumping, which he never does. Xander was like out there and was playing as hard as he could. He wanted to win, and they just are making this point out of principle. It appears that like it's ridiculous. Everybody else profits and we can't, which I think we said last time is pretty similar to the NCAA situation. And yeah, so I have no issue with it. I really don't. It obviously stinks. It obviously makes the European team more, everybody's making the same thing. This is why the European team is so much easier to root for. Everybody keeps saying that. I think that's true. I think that's been true for a long time. And it probably leads to some of the reasons why the U.S. team, I don't know that is why U.S. gets swept 4-0 in like alternate shot, is because like one guy or two guys, are making a pretty principled point about how they should get paid. Everybody else getting paid. I don't know that that's it. But I do think over 30, 40 years, that extra 10 or 20% difference, whatever it might be, of team camaraderie, and fucking Rory's talking about how they're all around the fire pit telling stories and the whole deal. Like, if you believe in fucking teams and coaching and chemistry and the whole deal, like that might tip the scales a little bit over a 30-year period.
I think it's definitely true. I think it's 100% true. I think it's also it's a cultural difference. It's like part of what makes America is this like sort of capitalism. Like, let's, this is sort of the invisible hand. Like, if we approach things this way, it'll be better for all parties and it'll be more fair. That's, not to get too sort of philosophical, but that's kind of like what this country was founded on. Whereas the Europeans, I think a lot of them do have this outlook of like, I just can't fucking believe that I made $12 million to play golf, where they're just like so grateful, where the Americans are like, no, let's turn that 12 into 14.
Yeah. And like, what I hate the argument of like, well, these guys already make so many millions. I can't believe they care about play. That's not how capitalism works. We are a fucking democratic capitalist society. You simply do not get to say at any point, well, you already make enough, so you're going to do this for free now. That is literally not how America works. And I think you're right, Dan, that clearly, like, there's a little bit of an individualistic sort of mentality in this country of like, you eat, you eat what you kill. And like, it'll always be that way. And their point is like, in this instance, why should we, in no other instance in the world, are you just like asked to do something professional that everyone else commercializes and you have to do it for free? That ain't America. That's not how it works. And so again, it's optics are shit. I totally respect the guys like Max Homer, whoever, who I believe are just like, dude, I'll pay to play in this. That's great. I don't care. I think most people probably feel that way. But if you are principled in feeling the other way, I think you have a legitimate argument, as shitty as it might look optics wise. So that's kind of what I think on them.
It's good to have different opinions. Like outside of that, you become sheep. Everyone you just walk in the same line and nobody asks any questions. And even if you disagree with the questions that are being asked, like, it at least expands the thought of everyone around you. And that is generally a good thing. And that's what's happening.
I think that's right. The chances are you probably stink, like literally stink, like odor stink, or that you're just not as hygienic as you should be. We have a solution, and the answer is Meet Wood, the lineup of men's personal grooming products made of all natural ingredients and specially formulated to make you smell like a better man. I actually went into my local CVS like 6 months or so ago, and bang, right there was Barstool Sports' Wood line, WOULD, and I got this. I got the face wash, which is really good, and then there's another one that's like the face exfoliation type stuff, where it's a little bit like, and I alternate, like I use it every other day in the shower, and boy, it really just makes you feel like you're doing the right thing. You smell good, your face is clean, smooth, the whole deal. So they make all kinds of products at Wood, world's best smelling body, hair, face, beard products, make you smell like you give a damn, even if you do not. So check out the natural products aisle at your local Walmart and shop Wood's hair and body assortment today. It's time to smell like a better man. And again, they've got amazing products from body wash, shampoo, conditioner, the face stuff, like I said, which is really, really good, that I just bought on my own, and I'm like, holy shit, this stuff's amazing. It works. So
yeah, I saw it at my barbershop, which I wasn't expecting to see, a New York City barbershop, a Barstool Sports product. They've got some hair products that are, and it's a really nice packaging. The bottle is beautiful, which matters. People are going to go into your bathroom. Maybe you got a lady friend who's going in there and they see it and they see like a nice, sleek, well-made, minimalist bottle. That's a definite net positive for you.
Absolutely. And I believe too, they consulted like one of the best guys in the world I don't even have that in my copy here, but at making these types of products. So it's very legit.
A perfumer. It's a real job.
Is that right?
Yeah, perfumers are real. There's like big time perfumers, and when one switches from like Gucci to like Chanel, it's like big news.
I guess that makes sense. Check out the natural products aisle again at your local Walmart. Shop Wood's hair and body assortment today. Lexi Thompson's playing in a PGA Tour event next week at the Shriners Hospital Open. That's the Vegas tournament, I believe. Is that right? They do it in Vegas?
Shriners Children's Open. I made a TikTok about this morning. I got to tell you guys, I am so fucking addicted to making TikToks. It's crazy.
Yeah. You texted us this morning in that group. You said you were addicted to TikTok, which I am also addicted to TikTok, but you're addicted to making TikToks.
I'm addicted to making TikToks, dude. It's crazy. Like anything that happens now, it's like, I was thinking, it was like, to think I spent all of this time learning how to write. And like, all I want to do now is make TikToks, dude. Anytime that there's something happens in golf now, I view it through the lens of, can we make a TikTok out of this? Because it is so fun to watch the numbers go crazy on TikTok.
Yeah, it's a drug.
Was a clip.
It's a drug, man. There was
a clip. We did a video from the Ryder Cup about this issue, about like, should guys be paid? And it has like 900,000 views on TikTok. Like, I don't think all my articles from 2023 like combined had like 900,000 views. So it's just the reach is just crazy. Starting to see some other people kind of jump on the train and get on the TikTok train a little bit, making some short form golf videos, which is, imitation is the best form of flattery. But yeah, it's a little bit strange because she's number 25 in the world right now. It's not like, when you look back, Annika played a PGA Tour event. Michelle, we played 8, which was a stunning number. When I remember she played some.
That's crazy.
But I was pretty young. She played 8. Didn't make the cut in any of them, but they were both, like one of the best female players in the world at the time. Lexi's number 25. She missed 5 cuts in a row before the last 2 events. She's been kind of solid. So clearly these fall events are looking for juice. They're not part of the FedEx Cup anymore. They're kind of for reshuffling. So I totally get it. And I've always been, the understanding or the belief that like these are sponsors invites, and this is literally what they're for. Is they can invite whoever they want.
Dan, that they're taking the spot away from somebody who deserves it. So I'm pretty offended. I think it's ridiculous.
You're gonna if you go through our comment section, you're gonna see a lot of that.
Will not stand for it. I want to say like Michelle, her first time playing missed the cut by like 1 or something.
By 1,
played pretty
Sony Open, and she was like 13 years old. It's insane.
Yeah, and look, Lexi is one of the bigger names in like
Definitely.
the American version or audience or crowd of the LPGA of women's golf. So. I love it. I think it's a great call. Like you said, they're looking for juice, sponsors exemption. You can do literally whatever the fuck you want with the sponsors exemption. You're the one putting up the money, paying the purse, sponsoring the entire event, supporting the entire event. You can literally put the fucking 4-man scramble out there if you want. You can do whatever
I was
the hell you
literally just going to say that. I was like, if you're looking for some juice, ladies and gentlemen, the Lexi Thompson thing is great, and they should continue to do that. But also, they should put the 4-man scramble in there because that's real juice.
I mean, how long is it until someone like Garrett Clark from Good or someone like Fat Perez gets one of these invites? Like, is that a line that is not okay to cross? I mean, Tony Romo, Jerry Rice played in a Corn Ferry event, like 90, so it's not new.
Yeah, Steph Curry he's played in a few different Corn Ferry Tour events. And one time he shot like 72, 74 or something like that, I believe.
Dude, we talk about this all the time in other sports and golf as well. It's having, like, let's say they just let me play. If they let me play, it will showcase how good these golfers are. It's great to have, like, I forget who said it, but they should have somebody like that in the Olympics. When it's like a swimming competition, put a regular Joe out there and you'll see how good these people are. That contrast is so interesting. Like, I would go out there and shoot 155, and people be like, "That's a hard golf course." That's what I would shoot.
I feel like some amateur would fuck up the waves in the pool. Like they would be splashing so much with all the guys.
So back, like farther back there too, that like the waves are going in a different direction. Like what the fuck? I mean, imagine like if they put one of us in like the Tour de France or something, right? And you're like 7 minutes.
It would take
event,
months
climbing up this mountain. The guy just falls off the bike and has to go to the hospital for cardiac arrest. You're like, all right, this event's pretty impressive with these guys.
Well, I've taken 3 Peloton classes, so I'd probably win that thing. But I get what you're saying.
That's true,
dude. Speaking of TikTok, really fast, because it is an incredible world, and it's just a world that we don't fully understand. But Dan, I like that you are getting into it because that's a man who you're wanting to adapt, and that's what you have to do. If you're not going to adapt, you're going to die. We're all going to die, dude. I did at the Connecticut Classic. I threw on a Ryder Cup quarter zip, and I did like a minute video that we do everywhere on every platform, just being like, "Hey, we got Ryder Cup merch. We're so excited. It's unbelievable." Blah 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 blah. It's got 630,000 views on.
It's a joke,
TikTok.
dude. It's a joke.
It's not particularly funny. It's just literally me talking about this quarter zip, and it got 630,000 views. It's a stunning world that I don't fully understand.
So I was actually talking with Brandel about this a couple months ago, and he was saying he sat on a flight next to a guy who knew who he was, and they were talking about golf, landscape, media. I guess this guy was in like kind of like media data world of like optimization, whatever. And the guy was essentially told Brandel that like, you need to be doing whatever you're doing on Twitter, Instagram. You need to focus everything on TikTok. And his point was that basically Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and this was this guy's point, which is a third source that is in no way am I calling it reliable, but this is just what I heard from Brandel, was that the guy basically told him on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, they essentially suppress your content if you're a content creator in an effort to force you to pay for it, to pay for that, your content to target the proper crowd that it should target. And so they literally actively like suppress it, make you pay. And then when you pay, you are released and you are showcased and targeted to the proper people. He's like, TikTok literally is the exact opposite, where the algorithm is so good and identifies immediately what type of content it is, and then just shoves it and spreads it to everyone that's interested in that. Everyone that's stopped for a millimeter of a millisecond longer than usual on a golf video. When a golf video goes out, it will go to those people, and it just gets into the jet stream because TikTok does it the complete opposite of the others.
And it almost feels like TikTok, like it almost feels like the less produced the video is, like the better in a way. Like, you know, we make these awesome videos, you know, like that I'll shoot on a camera and there'll be a whole editing thing and, you know, they'll do fine. And then I made this video about like these socks, the golfer's not wearing socks. It has 805,000 views. It took 1 minute to make. It literally took 1 minute to make. And I think there's something about the unvarnished look that I think Gen Z puts authenticity. If they see a video that's super produced and it's got music over it and it's got all these clean cuts, they're like, the suits, you know, like they want you to, that's why like so many of Dave's videos, like I think about when he was doing the unboxings or even the pizza reviews where it's just like, they want an iPhone and press play.
That's it. We learned that a while ago, Dan. Like if you look, all of our Tiger Woods videos, our guys have $7,000 cameras sitting beside them, and they run after us with their iPhones because the vantage point of those videos of just someone running up with an iPhone is so much more relatable to people and just gets more engagement, whatever the fuck it is, than having some highly produced camera, you know, the side view or the landscape view. Nope, you just go up with an iPhone like you just hit the fucking record button on your Instagram story thing. And that does a million times better. So it's. I mean, it makes sense when you really think about it, but it is preposterous.
I mean, if you're a Barstool Sports employee, we've been hearing about TikTok in these company meetings for the last 5 years. If Gaz and Eric are listening to this segment right now, they're pulling their hair out because they're like, "This is what we've been telling you guys for years." It's like, get on there and start. It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be super produced. And it's like a tangible, real audience. Like I went and got drinks with Tommy Smokes 2 weeks ago in New York City. He's a superstar. He is big on TikTok. He focuses on TikTok. He does a lot of other things too, but people are coming up to him nonstop. I know that's anecdotal, but it's real people being like, oh, that's Tommy Smokes from fucking whatever, this and that. And I hate Tommy Smokes and I hate to give him any compliments, but like when you go out with him, people are like, that's Tommy Smokes. And it's like, that TikTok thing is it's the real deal.
Well, that guy Jack Mack is like the biggest like star at the company because he is like he's like, you know, almost 1 million followers on TikTok.
He does a great job with those too.
Great.
I looked at that. I saw that the CBS, I think, or somebody released a list of like the top 10 highest earners in content creation, and it was like these TikTokers. There was a couple of them on there that I don't even really know who they are. I like heard their name and they're in like $26 million. They're in like the top, like per year of like top 10 just earners who literally just became who they are through TikTok, which it makes fucking sense. We've heard about it. It's been popping, but I think I've posted like 2 videos on TikTok ever. So,
and they found a way to monetize it. Like we got a message from our merch girls today being like, we sold a bunch of these like sweaters and they were like, you know, 80% of them were through TikTok. And so it's like, you might think of it as like, oh, are these empty views? But the answer is no, they are not.
Dude,
I would say our e-commerce women is how I would describe it, Dan, but that's, you know, you could say it's fine.
Dude,
and Allison and Pilar are the fucking goats and they know it.
Here's the real mind fuck of the whole thing is it doesn't have to be current content. That's what everybody in this building tells me. You can, bro, we've been making videos for 7 years. We've done it all. We've been everywhere. We've met everybody. You can, if you chop it up into a TikTok format, you can literally post old content and people are seeing, they have no idea who we are. So they're like, oh, these guys met Tiger Woods. Whoa, that's crazy. Boom, you put it on TikTok and they just see it and they're like, that was cool. It's you doesn't have to be like, oh, the news just broke on whatever happened with the Ryder Cup. I got to do that. You can do that and it does work, but you can also go through the backlogs and be like, we did all this cool shit a long time ago. Let's re-up that shit and people will still watch it.
Yep. That's a good point. We
sound like we're old because we're like, can you believe that you can do this shit?
This is basically one of our internal meetings that we're doing.
I know. On the we can probably stop talking about it, but
everyone's literally scrolling through TikTok listening to this being like,
I know. I've scrolled through TikTok on the train, man. Yeah. It's fucking addictive, man.
Listen, I went to fucking journalism school. Like it takes a certain, you have to have the mental flip in your head of like, who am I to tell? Look, the market, we're talking about capitalism. The market decides sort of what good content is a little bit, right? Like I had a conversation in the elevator in Rome where one of these guys was like, I miss you writing. And I was like, yeah, like that was cool. But like no one really was reading it. And now the reach is 20x bigger. And who am I to tell people that, you know what, actually writing is the gold standard of communication. And I'm not going to make these videos and these content that reach more people because I actually know what people enjoy to consume more than anybody else.
That's how you die.
Writing is like a passion project at this point. It's like, people just
It's
don't have
unfortunate
attention
because
span.
it is how I came up. I was, huge fan of all these writers that were during that time, like early bloggers, even like Dave and KFC and Big Cat. Like, they're bloggers, but their writing was still funny. It's not like beautiful prose, but it's a different style. And that was how you did it. But the world moves on, and now it's all video, which is fine. We're just got to adapt.
Yeah, writing's still valuable. It's just not the most optimal way. So,
you got to be really, really good at it. Really good at it. Like Francis at Barstool right now, I read every one of his blogs because it's like, that's must see. It's not when I came up blogging or Riggs or whoever, like where it was, oh, this one story broke, I'm going to write 200 words on it. I'm going to put it on the website. Boom. Francis is thought out. It's funny. It's thoughtful. Like that's where it's all going. That's just
that's what I've done is like, I really, the only things I really write consistently are like the Monday wrap, which is like a longer thing. And then I'll do like preview for the majors and like these big 18 parting thought recaps. But like a good example is today with the Lexi Thompson thing. When I was back at Golf Digest, it would be like, you'd write like a 400 word, article. And that would be how you conveyed the news, whereas now it's just like fire up the talk.
There's vodka in this? Yes, the answer is yes. There is vodka in Truly Vodka Seltzer made with real fruit. They like to keep it real over at Truly. That's why they use no artificial flavors or sweeteners, made with premium vodka. It's got a crisp, clean, refreshing taste. They got all kinds of different flavors. They got dozens of flavors over at Truly. They got fewer calories. All 12-ounce cans have under 110 calories. That means plenty of refreshing flavor, not going to weigh you down. They're low on sugar. Every Truly Vodka Seltzer contains only 2 grams of sugar. I'm not a scientist, but it feels like 2 grams of sugar is a very small amount. A gram is a tiny, tiny amount of stuff. So just 2 grams of sugar and a refreshing go-to that is perfect for the fall, the autumn. They've been a big part of the Barstool Classic. We see people out there, hundreds, thousands of golfers all year, drinking Trulies from start to finish throughout the day, and they love them. So we're big fans of Truly. We appreciate them coming on. This is the 5th year in a row they've been the title sponsor of the Barstool Classic.
Truly also sponsored Side Gig when it was just an idea. So we love Truly. They've put a lot of faith in us, and we put faith back in them.
We do. Find Truly Vodka Seltzer near you at trulyhardseltzer.com. Again, go to that website, find some flavors that you like, find out where the Truly Vodka Seltzer is near you at trulyhardseltzer.com. All right. I believe we got 15 minutes till Trent Daddy has to go. So.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I'm going to introduce our new segment. It's a new segment. You guys ready for this? You hyped up?
I'm ready.
Ready to go.
All right. New segment's called Closest to the Pin. We call it KP. I actually looked it up, why they call Closest to the Pin KP. And the answer is simply that they just do. They just call it Closest to the Pin. So call it Closest to the Pin. We're going to have 4 essentially questions every time because there's typically 4 par 3s on a normal golf course. You're going to have to, each person is going to guess, and we'll start I'll tell everybody next time we're going to do this to bring a piece of paper like on the dozen, but we'll just text Alex Bush this time so you can't change your answers. But we're going to do each one as its own, and we're going to have some fun with it. I got a couple like real ones, a couple fun ones. Closest to the pin, you're going to guess based on the question, which you'll see. Whoever's closest gets a point, and we'll tally up at the end of the year who is the winner, and that person will get a very cool prize. I envision perhaps a sponsor comes in, something along those lines. But I got 4 questions. We're going to each guess as close as we can. Whoever wins obviously gets that point. We'll tally up the points at the end of the year. The first one is, what will Frank Borelli's weight be upon his return to the United States of America after his honeymoon in Italy?
Well, the big looking variable here is what is his weight right now? And
that's so there's you gotta. It's total. It's a bit. It's a crapshoot. You gotta. And there'll be, it's obviously, we'll give Frankie a chance to catch up because he's going to miss, a segment or 2. But then going forward, it'll be clearly a reward to be on more shows, in which case you're going to have more opportunities to tally them up. But, we can discuss it. And then we each have to come up with our own answer and submit it. I don't know. I feel like Frankie has told us his weight before on the show when he was going through the moon face phase and people were tweeting at him and stuff. But he got skinnier for his wedding. And so I feel like he's, I'm not 100%.
I submitted a number already.
You sent it to Alex?
I sent it to Alex.
All right, I'm going to send mine.
I'm going to text Bush right now. I'm a little bit rattled about
I
it,
just
but I just went with my instinct.
Do we reveal them or?
We'll reveal. Let's go. Dan goes first.
I said 179 pounds. The thinking there is that he's about 168 right now.
Okay, so you and I are on the same page because I said 176. So I think he probably weighs in at like 170 right now, going
8
over.
pounds is kind of a lot for 2 weeks if we're thinking about it, right? Isn't that like a preposterous amount of weight to gain in 2 weeks?
But I don't think they're like, we know what he's doing. He's just eating pasta and drinking wine, I think, for 2 weeks straight.
Also, important information that I probably should have said before, but I'm actually glad I had it to myself. He's gotten into lactate, where he can now eat ice cream more. So I think the last week and a half he's been eating more ice cream. So he might be 175 going over there.
Fuck, you're right. That's good knowledge. I went 172. I'm the low ball. I feel
That's
like
low. That sounds low.
I know. Here's the thing. Frankie is sneaky tall. He's pretty skinny. Like his
legs are very skinny
person. So I don't know where he's going to carry. I mean, I know where he's potentially going to carry all that, but I'm going to say 172, which makes me feel good about being the most flattering guest, but bad about being maybe the worst guest.
The best part is when we make him get on a scale as soon as he lands on the way back.
I thought about it. He's going to be like, what is going on here?
He cannot go home before he gets on a scale. We need an exact measurement.
Don't take a piss. Don't do anything. Get on that scale.
All right. Next one. What will Lexi Thompson score to par
This is electric.
at the Shriners next week? I looked up to give a little bit of context. The winner has been 24 under, 24 under, 23 under, 23 under, 21 under in the last 5. She's based on historical precedent, most likely not going to make the cut. The cut last year was -4, made the cut, -3, missed the cut.
I'm in.
You submitted yours already?
I have a little bit of background because for that TikTok that I made, I went through and looked at like what the women shot. So I feel good about my answer.
There's a benefit to having some knowledge. I'm going to text Bush right now.
I shot from the hip. Mine's already in.
All right. I'll go first this time. I went +5.
Trent?
I'm fucked. I'm so fucked. I did 2 under.
Bro, okay. Listen, you're putting some belief in Lexi. I like that.
I am. I think she'll do all right. I don't think she'll make the cut, but I think she'll do all right.
I said 3 over.
Okay, 3 over. All right, well, here's the issue. Now, me and Dan
Barstool Sports.
We're going to look like misogenic guys until in a week and a half, hopefully. I actually don't say that. But there's a chance
I think she's going to win the tournament. I don't know what to tell you. I think she's going to get the W.
For the next week, we look like assholes.
Under par.
And then in 9-10 days, we might be vindicated. But now we look like assholes for the next several. Fuck.
All right, Dan, what's your answer?
I said 3 over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think she shoots.
What did I say? 5?
I think there's an under par round in there, though. I think she shoots 4 over the first round, a little bit of nerves. I don't know what her draw is going to be, and I think she comes back strong second day, shoots 1 under second day. Plus
knowing the least amount about everything helped me there. Helped me.
What do we do in the case of a tie? If she shoots 4 over, should we say me and Dan each get half a point or something like that?
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got to set the ground rules.
I love this segment.
I'm having fun.
I thought, this is fun. Okay. Next one, there's 4 total. And then I think each time we do this, we should do it once a week. And each time we do it, it'll be someone's turn to bring the questions. So obviously I brought them this time, but you can each bring your own 4 questions.
It's actually, it's not like trivia where like you don't know the answers. You came up with the questions, but you don't know the answers, which is interesting.
That was the tricky part, was trying to come up with a question without like making it unfair, where I like looked at the, you know what I mean? So the next one is, it was a little bit tricky, and I even thought about texting Bush to come up with the questions, but the first one I came up with was the Frankie one, which I thought was very funny and kind of mean, and so I didn't want to throw it to somebody else. Next one, total number of likes Max Homa will get on Twitter on Saturday, October 7th, which is this coming Saturday, and we will count it by at noon on Monday. We'll cut it off, and that's because things can continue to accumulate engagement.
So the content has to be posted on Saturday.
Has to be all of his tweets from Saturday, and then we'll tally them up at noon on Monday, and that'll be our final number. For a little bit of context, I mean, obviously there's football on Saturday. Max is on vacation. He'll probably be having a couple drinks. He might not tweet anything. He might go on a tweet storm while he's in an Uber for an hour. On October 3rd, which was Tuesday, he had 61,636 likes in
but
4 tweets,
everyone
I
was
think.
sucking him off for the Ryder
Well, he
Cup.
had the big one where he tweeted like about Kobe, I think, and the whole deal, and then was like, "I've been scrolling my phone for 2 hours." So this one's the hardest one because it could be 0 or it could be 200,000.
All right, before anybody guesses anything, what are the rules? Price is Right rules? Like, how do we do over under?
I think it's the same as the score. It's whoever's closest.
I think so too.
Value.
I thought about if you can't go over, but the issue with that is I think the Price is Right works because you can go $1 if you think everyone else is over. Yeah,
right.
I guess you could still do it that way. I think for now we'll make it just closest. You can go over. You can go over.
Oh my! It could be 0. He might. Max Homa might turn his phone off.
My answer is in.
Okay.
I also not that anybody should do this, and you fucking better not. We could all text Max and be like, "You got to tweet something."
That is absolutely against the rules.
Well, I was thinking there are no real rules. So if you even want to like bait him on Twitter, you can do that. Like if you're trying to get to a higher number, you can. I think anything's in play. So like
Max Homa is a pussy.
That's
damn. All right.
right.
All right, I'll go first.
You
My answer is 0. I think Max is going to have a lovely afternoon with Lacey and baby Cam. I think that Max is, it's been a long year. I think Max is going to, watch football in the privacy of his own home and stay off the Twitter machine.
Trent?
I just sent mine to Alex. I think this guy's going to be tweeting. I'm going with 20,000. I'm going with 20,000 likes.
Okay.
I think he's going to say.
Okay.
I think he is going to, because he is on vacation. And I saw Burns is putting up in stories like these guys are going to, they're going to be active on the social media. So I'm going 20,000 likes for Max Homa.
Okay. I'm right in between. Like I just figured I would be. I went 7,225. I think he gets a couple off. They're not overly thoughtful because I think he'll be boozing, watching a little bit of football. He'll respond to something or he'll see some video. Something will happen during college football Saturday that he'll tweet about, maybe a couple replies. That's kind of my guess. Total crapshoot. It could be 50,000. It could be not a single like. I don't know. We'll see. Wow. All right. Last one is Kevin Kisner's finishing position this week. So he's returning. This is his second tournament back from his little mountain hiatus where he grew a beard and disappeared and the whole fucking deal. He went castaway. He finished tied for 62nd at the Fortinet 3 weeks ago with his rounds were 69, which is nice, and I think 3 under, and then 72, 76, and then 68. So his last competitive round was a 4 under 68, very solid. This is the Sanderson Farms, not the toughest, field in the world. So what will Kevin Kisner's finishing position be this week?
I've got mine if you guys want me to go.
Sure.
Fire it away.
I'm going to pay homage to, if you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, this is from years ago, but there was a stretch
We're going to be
where
close.
our guy was the T25 master. Literally like 2 months of tournaments in a row. He was just T25, cash and checks. So I think our guy's going to play well. I think he's back. I'm going with T25 for Kevin Kisner.
I went T27, all the same reasons. I went a couple higher. No offense to Kis. Again, I'm on the wrong side of this where I'm the asshole now, but T27 I went.
I went T38. And that's not a shot at Kevin. I think that would be progress. Good. That would be progress. I think T38, which also means that if there's a miscut, I win.
Is that true?
Fuck. Smart. Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Yeah, because I think we have to take, like if he finishes, because they do change the whole leaderboard after everybody misses the cut. They just put cut next to it. But if he's like T107 when he finishes on Friday, I think he's T107 for the intents for the purposes of this game.
What a great idea, Riggsy.
I love it. And all I'm thinking about now is how can we get the listeners involved? Like, can they?
Oh, they can submit, right?
Right. So it's almost like, how would we got to do? I got to think about this. But you almost, because this is going to come out tomorrow. Are any of those going to be? No, none of those will be finished by the time it comes out. You almost
the longest one is Frank returning to America. That's the longest one away.
What you would have to do is almost have him, like, we'll put out a tweet being like close to the pin. new segment here, the questions, and then just like 1, 2, 3, 4, people got to give their answers.
Yep.
And it's
then
got to
we
be
could
before
see
they all finish.
whose card is the closest. We could check whose card, like that wouldn't be a bad idea. The closest guesser, you have to like tweet your 4 answers, and whoever's the closest on all 4,
He gets like a dozen balls.
little giveaway.
Yeah,
Give him,
I like
fucking
that. I
driver or
really
something.
like that because I can already I know people are going to want to do this because
I
it's
know.
just they get to take a shot in the dark and we get a
So
we'll see. I think people,
this reminds me a
let's-
lot. Let's do that. This reminds me a lot of the dozen, and I got to tell you guys, I filmed my first dozen episode yesterday, and I'm not on your team.
What?
Who are you? Who are you with?
I'm on the Con Men with Captain Cons and Nikki Smokes. Listen,
Wow.
listen, this is a bit of
Wow.
a Trey Lance situation. You know, you're sitting on the bench long enough. You need to change the scenery. I was told, oh yeah, one of us will be able to do it. One of us will be able to do it. Not a single fucking time did anyone drop out last year. So I sat on the bench the entire time. And so I sent some feelers out. I said, listen, I've got this here noggin here. Let's talk trivia.
I don't mind that that you felt slighted and like you're on the schneid on the bench. I can't believe you did it behind our back.
What was I supposed to say? Hey
that.
guys, do I have your permission to go seek a better opportunity for my career and my family?
Yes, I think so.
All right, well, my bad.
Well, here's like the reason why
Wow.
like we our team, the 4Play Pod team isn't that great, but we seem to have this little bit
You
of
guys
magic
get the
where-
fan votes.
Yeah, we have a good time, and we upset. Who did we upset that one time? That was just a stunner.
Oh, we was it Tommy's team? No.
No.
Was it the Clemmer team?
Yeah, was it Robbie? I don't remember. But we have like a little bit of magic. So we got into it. Like every time Jeff sent it out, we're like, here's our schedule. We want to be able to do it. And we left you on the bench. And I actually don't think you needed to check in with us. I think you can roam free, be with the con men, and it's going to look real shitty for us if you become like the MVP of the league.
I don't think there's a big risk in that happening, but I appreciate your blessing, and it was a lot of fun. Man, is that fun.
It's so fun. The dozen
It's
is the
really
best,
it
man.
is really fun. I will say our team is not built for victory. Our team is built to like
Yes.
have fun. We're kind of we're happy to be there type of team. And I feel like Dan, if we were building a 4-play team to win,
You would
I
be
think
on
you're clearly like a good player, but again, our team isn't based on good play. Like
Yeah, they were saying like if you lose, what Jeff said, he goes, when you start losing, you got to start being electric.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And our team, I will say, we're so like flabbergasted when we play well that we can't help. We go crazy. Like Frankie last time guessed 2 of the basically where they do the closest to the pin segment, where it's just random shit. He guessed 2 of them on the number in the same game. Remember
You're
that?
just
That was
dumbfounded.
insane.
No, listen, I think it makes sense for all parties. I just, it was, I felt a little dirty, but it's never fun when you get traded. It's never fun when you sign somewhere else, but you got to do what's good for you.
It's
okay,
good
man.
exposure
luck to
because
you.
it's people love the dozen, and I think you'll be great on it. And maybe we'll match up one day, and that'll really be something.
They do this thing in soccer when they loan a player out to another team. He can't play against the team that actually owns his rights. So I think
Jeff's gonna set it up. He kidding me? This is a dozen home
The
run.
dozen will be the opposite of what that is.
That's right.
So I'll have to be there when we play you guys.
Yes.
I did you consult with Kyle Timms, because he is a dozen extraordinaire. He's obsessed with the dozen.
I moved in the middle of the night, sort of like the Baltimore
Yeah.
Colts. Just kind of happened.
Yeah, you were just gone. Wow. All right. Well, good luck, Dan. Good luck.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right. We'll put out the closest, the KP graphics. We'll get that out there. We'll figure out how to do that. People can obviously weigh in, and whoever, we'll send a dozen balls to whoever has the best card of the 4 questions. And then next week we'll have somebody else who come with the questions, and we'll continue on until we forget to do the segment, because we always do. So that's our plan. We got Alfonso Ribeiro up now, right? Our pal.
Yep. He's very
Amazing.
good. Frankie and I interviewed him like a week or so ago. In this interview, we do discuss the 4-5 Ryder Cup. Should it be good? Like, what's the actual rule? And I know that was a while ago now, but he actually gives a very thoughtful answer that I think people are going to find interesting.
That's right up his alley. He loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So enjoy Alfonso. We love him. He's a great friend of the program. Enjoy your weekends. We'll be back next week. We got a little Sahith Thagala is coming up next week. I believe next Tuesday he'll be on the show. One of our favorites. He won the most recent PGA Tour event, the Fortinet, which is his first win. So we'll talk about that. And thanks for listening. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit hard.
Dude,
You look great, man.
you look unbelievable.
Well, I have to, I did live with Kelly and Mark this morning.
You're a big
and
deal.
We did, I did satellite media tour with Julianne. So, we just.
And now you're here with us.
Now
you're
schmucks.
here with us.
Now I'm here with my boys.
You almost need sweats to change into when you come here.
I know. Every time I come in here, I'm like this. Should I fucking get a second outfit? This guy's gonna be chill. Gonna be hanging. I'm gonna look like a fool in a suit.
No, you look amazing.
You look great in comparison.
If you don't know already, we are joined by our favorite guest of all time, our favorite recurring guest, Alfonso Ribeiro, host Dancing with the Stars, host America's Funniest Home Videos. You're just the host, and I love everything about it. You're an incredible host.
Very, very fortunate that I get to be a host. I love it.
The best host.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no,
Thank
we
you, man.
love it. We're hosts ourselves, and we don't really think of it that way.
No, we're also not that good at host. Like we've got the other guy on the show, Riggs, is like the main host, and then sometimes they let us do it.
Right,
And we
right.
just try to keep the train on the tracks.
By
But
accident,
but that's all you got to do.
That's right.
But that's really what the job is.
Yes.
Right? Like, how do you have fun while keeping it going?
My problem usually is the good host, like you're thinking a couple steps ahead,
Right.
and I'm always on the next word. Like I just thought of that
Right.
just then,
As it was coming out.
and now I don't know where I'm going.
well,
So
that's okay,
it.
but I can help you.
Okay.
Where you were going is that, like, what does the job? What do you do? I'm thinking ahead because I was also a director,
Right.
right? So, like, as a director, you're formulating the shots, you're figuring out the lighting, it's all about putting all the pieces together.
Sure.
And a host, to me, is a director on the floor, right? Your job is to continue to navigate through the show to get to the end in a way that makes a show function and work like it's supposed to. The first thing you do as a host on television is, what's the format? What are the steps? What are the beats? Right? And so if it's almost like a little kid with, coloring, right? It starts with, here's the lines,
Right.
right? And then over here, you got all the numbers which tell you what color you're going to put in each section, right? And then it's like, oh, section is green. All right, I put all the green in, right? And number 2 is blue, and I put the blue in. And then when you're done, you've got this beautiful little piece of art, if your kid stays within the lines. Sure. And so, but that's kind of like what you're doing, right? You're constantly adding on, right, from the blueprint. What's the format? What happens next? What do you say? How do you say it? Who's saying what? Where's it going to go? What's the tone? What's the energy? Where's the fun? Where's the serious? And so now when you start putting all those pieces together, you know where they all are. Here's your whole 2-hour episode.
I am of the belief, and I'm interested to hear what you say, that you're either born with it or you're not. You're either born a host or you're born an analyst.
I would say that I would agree with that mostly.
Okay.
Everything can be learned,
Sure.
right? But the ones who are great were born that way.
I agree completely.
Right? Like, there are good ones that learned how to do it. I learned how to be a host.
You that's what you think? I would have said the opposite.
But I learned, right? But didn't realize that I was already a host.
Gotcha.
I didn't know that I was a host. I just was like, oh, I need to learn this. And then it was like, oh, well, wait a minute, I do this already.
Like that's so interesting because when we first started doing the show, me and Riggs, he was just immediately the host. And I wasn't. And I knew that I wasn't. And he knew that he was.
Right.
How it's so strange to me.
Because you know the dynamics, right? The dynamics of your relationship, the
Yes.
dynamics of, like, 2 people walk into a room, right? Who's controlling the room? Who is a lightning bolt in the room?
Right.
Now that's your host and that's your co-host,
Right.
right? The guy who's controlling a room, keeps the flow going, conversations going. Hey, let's go get some food. Let's go do this. Let's do, right? That person's the host. Then it was like, well, let's get some food. Man, I was thinking,
Yeah.
that's your analyst.
Right.
It's like psychology. Just
It
like
is.
really, it's
like
it's
when
really
Jim Nance
interesting.
first walked into a room, doesn't matter where he was,
Oh, he's the host.
he's the host.
He's the host. He controls the room. He controls the flow. He controls the energy, the pacing, everything. He controls that room, right?
Yes.
So but that's the beauty of understanding. And so a good producer goes, oh, these 2 together will be great, right? Because this person just controls a room. This person is a great color, right? Now, I would like to say that at times I can do both.
Yeah.
Right? I can be the spark plug in the room,
Sure.
but I can also navigate the room. I can always keep this thing moving and have it go with the right possible flow that it needs. Right? So
interesting.
How
to
do we
me.
take that energy to the putting green? You're talking about
This guy can't putt right
You're
now.
talking about seeing
putt right now.
You're
He's been
talking
waiting.
about seeing the picture, and you're talking about being a director and seeing things as they're about to progress. Putting's pretty similar to that. What's the line going to be? What's the break going to be? When I hit this ball, what's the travel? What's the travel of the ball going to be? I
Right.
can't picture it right now.
Okay.
Every green looks foreign to me. I'm Bambi on ice.
How's your putting right now? Let's start there.
I haven't been playing. I've been so busy I've not been playing.
Okay.
So the last time I played was Tahoe.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So this is like the
stunning.
longest break
You
I've
are
had
like
not
the
playing.
busiest man in the world. So I
Right.
get
So
that.
I'm accepting it, right?
Right.
It hurts my heart a little bit, but I'm accepting it. But putting has been, over the last 2 years, my savior. Okay? So I do an arm lock. So the arm lock putting style, the goal of it is to take your hands out of it,
Right.
right? So you don't have any of this happening, right? Putting is confidence. Always will be, right? If you're not confident over a putt, you're never going to make the putt.
That's
It's
me right
impossible,
That's Frankie's big
That's me
problem.
right now.
right? So
I'm deselling. I can feel it.
So what it is fear, right? Funny, but Will Smith said it in After Earth. Fear isn't real. Danger is real, but fear isn't real. It's a story that's made up in your mind to keep you from doing something. So if you're standing over a putt and you're fearful of where the ball's going to go, we're starting with the wrong point,
Right.
right? You cannot make that putt if you're fearful of it. Now, I will say, most of my golfing life, I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
Fearful of hitting it too far. Fearful of dude, you're going to have a putt if you miss from somewhere.
Right.
Right. Right.
So pick a spot, aim at that spot, do your best to hit that spot, and accept that if you didn't hit it right or read it right, you're going to have another putt.
Yeah.
So what are we afraid of?
I don't know.
Right?
What are you afraid of?
I really don't know now.
Well, your problem, I feel like I don't know.
I'll tell you what I'm really afraid of.
Please.
This is what it is. And it's as my game has progressed and as I've gotten better, I am fearful that I ruin good opportunities when I'm standing over a putt. So perfect drive.
So you ruin it with the ruin.
Correct. Right. I'm thinking I just hit a perfect drive. I hit it to 10 feet. I
Right.
have to make this birdie
Well,
putt.
that's where
and
you
if,
start wrong.
And if I don't, I better have this be a tap in par because I'm not walking away with a bogey. And now I'm thinking of all the wrong scenarios in my head.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, at the very last second, I'm like, no, you can't go for that hole. You're going to end up blowing it by. And then I just peel off a little bit. And then it's off the toe and it's a decel.
Right.
And I miss every single putt left. And then it rolls out. And then I miss the par putt and it's a bogey.
Right.
That's exactly what's been happening.
Right. Right.
Is that similar to, I think one of the first times we had you on, you talked about the brain doesn't know don't.
Right.
Is it
That's
similar?
exactly where I was going.
Okay.
You know, go ahead, host.
No, well, I remember you saying that. I think about that all the time. You're like, if you're in the fairway and there's water left, and you say, "Don't hit it in the water,"
You're gonna hit it in
all
the
your
water.
brain thinks is hit it in the
It's
water.
one of the greatest golf minds
I'm
in,
with
in
you.
America that we're talking
we-
about.
we
The fact
have
that we
him on-
remember your bullet points in golf is
Right.
incredible.
I love that. I
I
love
have
that.
them on as much as we can because we always get something out of it.
Right, right. Well, I think the fact that you're standing there with the don'ts, you have no chance of the yes,
Right.
right? So you've got to, how much time do you spend on the putting green before you play?
Very minimal.
Well, now we're starting with the first problem,
right.
right? How do you get to build confidence? You build it
Reps.
by reps. There's no other way to build it, right? So
Isn't putting hard to get reps, because every putting green's different?
no,
Really?
absolutely not.
What are you getting reps in? Is it-
Every green is different, but you're always the same, and your ball's the same, and your putter is the same.
Damn.
All you're doing is making calculations. It's simple math, right? Go to your green and go, okay, I'm going to practice a 12-footer. That's all I'm going to practice. 12 feet, 12 feet, 12 feet. So now 12 feet is lock solid for you. You know what a 12-foot putt feels like at your home course, right? Go somewhere else and hit your 12-foot putt and see where the ball goes.
You gotta
Right?
have a baseline.
So now you know, oh, this is faster than my green. This is slower than my green. So now your 12-foot putt is a 10-foot putt.
Yeah, it makes sense.
right? So now you stand over it and you go, hey, I got 10 feet. Hit that shit 12 feet.
Have you gotten to the point where you know what a 12-foot putt feels like?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't. I got to get there.
Because that's the only putt I practice.
Right.
That's interesting.
That's a great point.
12.
You need a base.
You need a baseline.
I'm constantly guessing.
Now it's a calculation from that, right?
So you trust those first couple putts on the practice green being like, okay, this is just what it is today.
All I'm doing is when I go to a practice green, I'm hitting a couple putts and I'm going, what is this today? What am I feeling? Right? And I know that this is what a 12-footer feels like.
Right.
Where did the ball go?
Right. Wow.
And so
okay.
And by the way, the first thing I do when I go to a putting green, I don't even hit a putt. I take the ball and I roll it.
You just roll it.
Just roll it. How quickly is it coming to a stop? Is it rolling out? Just literally just take the ball.
We play so
roll
much
it.
golf, we don't do any of this.
Just roll it.
No.
Just roll it. Just like with your hand,
Yeah.
right? The beautiful thing about doing that is we have been playing with balls our entire life,
Damn
which can
straight.
be really funny. But
I felt it. I felt that being separated out.
it's
Just
like-
like,
Got
Like,
that
that'd be
right.
really funny.
that's
That'd be
going
really
to the
funny.
teaser.
in this room. But we've been like throwing balls up against the wall. When you were a little kid, most of us had balls that we were just playing with, right?
Right.
So we have a natural understanding of that, right? So let's go to Bryson
Okay.
for a second. Why does Bryson leave the pin in? Do we know?
The centripetal force of the flagstick, isn't that what it
What
was?
did he say?
It
I don't
was,
remember his reasoning. It's been so long now.
Well, let's understand. If I throw the ball to you, do I need to think about how hard to throw it?
Nope.
I just throw it to you.
Right.
Or it's a point
Right?
of reference.
Because what happens is we see things in a three-dimensional world, right? The hole is a hole in a spot on the ground. It's not three-dimensional.
Right.
So if I want to know how hard to hit something to get it to that wall, it's a wall. I see it. It's three-dimensional. But if I look on the ground and I think just a spot on the ground, really difficult for me to see that,
Yeah.
to really know what that is. Because our whole lives we've been throwing things, right? We know what it looks like, what it feels like. So you've got this three-dimensional figure. It's right there. It's a pin. It's standing tall. You know exactly how far. So if I'm lag putting for, let's say, I got a 25-foot lag putt, right? I'm leaving a pin in. Because what's the likelihood that I'm going to hit it?
right.
One. And the other thing is that I'm going to hit it so hard it doesn't go in.
Right.
Right? That the pin shoots it out.
Right.
Right? I'm going to use it for speed.
Right.
Yeah. You're trying to get into a circle.
I'm trying to use it for speed because I can look at something and my natural ability goes, oh, I can hit it to there. I can throw it to there. So the rolling of the ball
Yeah.
is the beginning of your process because you go, oh, I know how far that's supposed to go. Wow, that went way further than I thought. It's fast green.
Did you ever mess around with the Jordan Spieth stare at the hole while you putt?
I've tried it. Doesn't work for me.
No. It's similar to what you're saying,
yeah,
though, where it's like
it's-
look at a target and just
right,
throw it.
right,
Because
but-
we don't look at the ball as we throw a baseball.
Absolutely.
We look at the person.
But I think the difference is like throwing a ball, it's already in your hand.
Yeah, you have to actually make contact.
You got to make contact.
It is hard.
And so because you're making contact with something
Yeah.
that if you hit it off the toe is going to do something different than if you hit it off the heel
Yeah.
or in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So because of that, the goal is to hit it on the sweet spot because then the ball's going to do what it's supposed to do. So I think the looking at the whole thing is great if you just want to work on it.
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
Just for feel. But in terms of actually doing it, right? Like you want to make good contact. Hard to make good contact when you're not looking at it. You can,
Right.
and those guys are amazing, right? Like that's next level talent.
Right.
Right? So there's
Also,
a
his
really
stroke
good,
is so
but it's
so perfect that
right? So he
could
knows
close
exactly
his
where that
eyes.
putter is.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that for you specifically, like roll the ball,
I like that.
work on a 12-foot putt, and then and then you can take it from there. Scotty Cameron, I had a putter built by him decades ago. And Scotty said to me, he goes, he asked this question, do you start the round off making good putts? And then as the round goes along, you get worse? I was like, how you know me?
Yeah.
And he's like, because your stroke isn't consistent,
Right.
right? So you stand over a putt, let's call it a 12-foot putt, and it's got 1 foot of break. So you go, it's 1 foot. So you aim there, you hit your 12-foot putt, you miss it high. Your brain goes, oh, wait a minute. That 1 foot that you saw is actually 9 inches. So the next time you have that identical putt, guess what you're going to do? Hit it 9 inches out. You're not going to go a full foot, right? And then you miss it low. You're done for the day.
Yeah.
Right, now you're confused.
Yeah.
You're done for the day,
Yeah.
right? Because you have no idea now when you see it, what you're seeing.
Right.
Right? It's like, don't believe your lying eyes. Well, I don't believe my lying eyes because I just had a 1-footer, a 1 foot out break, and then I hit it and it stayed high. And then I had 9 inches, which looked identical, and I missed it low. What is it?
It's crazy how much you're
Right?
describing my experience.
So you're
over the last
spinning
couple
yourself
months.
out.
Yep.
But really, you hit the first one on the sweet spot. You hit the second one on the heel or the toe, and so it didn't have the same pace, even though you put the same stroke on it, but the ball didn't respond the same way, and you're totally confused.
Putting's impossible.
So the goal is, do you have a putter that's built for you?
Good question.
Do you have a putter that rolls consistent?
Mm.
Right? So I had a putter once that had too much backspin.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
Because I just, I like this putter, bought it on the shelf. This is a great putter. It feels great. Right?
Yep.
The harder I hit it, the more backspin I put on it.
On contact, it was
The
rolling.
ball had backspin and then forward spin.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's like hit it, break, release.
That's a nightmare.
And the harder I hit it, the more break it had to release.
right.
So because it had the break, even though I hit it harder, the ball went the same speed. Ball went the same spot. Because you just had more break on it. Had more
Right.
backspin.
Yep.
Right? So if you don't have a putter that's coming off properly, right? The ball's coming off properly, then you're putting more backspin. Guess what? You hit it harder, ball didn't go anywhere.
Mm.
So you gotta get fitted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most important club in your bag is your putter.
I know. And I just have been avoiding it. I've just been avoiding paying attention to it.
There's so many variables.
So sexy to hit all the other clubs. It
It's-
feels like golf. And
It's the
putting
number
to
one-
me,
It's the number one club in your bag.
I know. And I just don't pay attention to it.
How many times you hit the driver?
12, 13 times
Okay.
at the most.
How many times you hit a wedge?
18.
If you're bad, you
Yeah.
hit it more than that, right?
Like, yeah.
Right? Because
Right.
you're chipping and
Hopefully
right?
like 6
right?
times. I don't know.
You're hitting your putter,
Yeah.
right?
45 times.
Yeah.
It depends who you are, but yeah.
Right. So how important it is to
It's
get that
extremely
club
important.
right. Like I'm over here basically selling, everybody should go get fit. Go get fit with a
100%.
putter.
100%.
That's the
Yeah.
one club that you need to be fit properly with.
Well, you said that it's been saving your game in recent times, and we have Riggs on our show. Like, we'll play a match against him, and I'll hit the ball from tee to green light years better than him.
Mm-hmm.
And he stays in matches because he one putts everything, and his lag putts are right around the hole. And you're
Right.
like, I'm sitting there being like, how am I not crushing this guy in this match? It's because he legitimately knows exactly where those balls are going on the green, and I'm basically putting blind.
It's a game,
Yeah,
right?
no pictures on the scorecard.
It's a game.
Yeah.
So you got to learn the game,
I know,
not the sport, not the swing,
right,
not the athleticism.
right.
You got to learn the game.
Right. How do you score?
That's the goal. The driving range is for hitting balls to figure out where it's going.
Mhm.
The golf course is about I'm standing on the tee box, there's the pin, and I got to get this ball in that hole as quickly as possible. That's the game. No matter how you skin it, that's the game.
Isn't getting better frustrating because you have so much more potential? Like,
And you have
like
expectations.
I have way more
That's what I've
expectations
found.
now.
I really have
Right.
found that.
The other day I had 5 birdie attempts within 10 feet.
Right.
I missed all 5 of
Right.
them, and I made pars. And
Right.
I sat in the cart, and we were on the 7th hole, and I looked at my buddy and I go, I could be 5 under right now if you think
And
about it.
You could have just screwed yourself.
Right.
Nope, you actually did.
Yeah.
The moment in golf you say, I could have,
Yeah, I know.
you've already then, so like in our brains, right? Do we want positive or negative? I always like to think we want positive energy in our brains, right? I could have been 5 under. So now you're taking a negative view on what you've done
Right.
versus I'm even par,
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
right? I'm even par.
I know. Fuck.
Like
That's better. That's better than so many people.
if you
I know.
if you did that for 18 holes, you're even par.
It's a career
Would have
round.
been a career round.
You're so excited about your round, But that's not how you would have seen it.
No.
You would have said, man, I should have been 18 under.
It's so
It's
true.
I
just-
shot even par. It was my career round. Should have been 18 under.
It's just the expectations. Like sitting in that cart being like, wow. Like even 2 of them, 3 of them. I'm just sitting there being like, if
Right.
I was a competent putter,
Yeah.
I
But
really was striking the ball.
But the beauty of that is that you still didn't go to the putting green and work on your putting.
No, I did not.
No way.
I did not.
Not a chance.
Right? So my question to you is, what would it take for you to do the things that you need to do to be better?
This conversation, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think this
I'm
was
putting
it. I think
so
this was it.
the gods put us together for a reason, right?
I
the
will-
golf gods said he'll only listen to Alfonso.
It's true. It's actually true.
Let's get him on the docket.
We've talked to every golfer in the world at this point, every professional golfer from legends to rookies. We take your word as gospel. It's insane. It really is. If you think about it, it's crazy. But that's how good you are at relaying the information.
Well,
Great host.
It's
Great
to
host.
me, it's about I've taken this information from them,
Yeah.
right? So
you distill it in a way that we can like
It's
consume.
like Spark
I feel.
Notes. Like I don't have to really. It's just you really just feed it to me. It's just like, okay, that makes sense. As opposed to a lot of the stuff, like you're saying the same stuff Bryson talks about.
Absolutely.
But he's writing it on a whiteboard with a
Right.
with a lab
He's-
coat on.
Got a
right.
lab
Well,
coat on.
because at the end of the day, like my job in life is to explain things to people so that they understand it.
Host.
Right? Communicator.
Host.
Right? So what is the definition of communication?
Don't look at me. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what it is in the book, but ultimately
I don't know.
it's conveying an idea that the other person receives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So if I say something and I see a blank look on your face, that's not your fault. It's my fault.
Interesting.
I didn't say it right.
Mm.
I didn't say it in a way that you can understand it. So the goal always is to give information in a way that the other person goes, ah. And so I keep spinning until I see, ah. And now
Yeah.
I know they got it. And I can move on to the next.
Yep.
Right? But that's communication. It's really what I do as a host, right? What I do in my job,
Yeah.
whether I was acting or directing, whatever it is, I'm communicating, right? So it's about getting the ideas across, getting it to you. The other person has to receive it. And so many people in life said, well, I said this. Yeah, but I didn't hear it,
Right. I didn't say it the right way.
right? My wife says all the time, baby, I told you. Yeah, but I ain't hear none of that. Right? I don't. You said that? You sure?
Right.
Because I ain't hear none
And
of
then
that.
you say to her, "That's on you for not telling you saying it the right way."
Well, I mean, I don't say that because I might be sleeping, outside
Sure.
on the pool chairs. But at the end of the day, it's like if I didn't receive it, then you didn't communicate it to me.
Right.
This is a good segue. I want to show you a video.
Oh yeah, we want to get your opinion on
Okay.
There was no communication in this. All right, so we have a thing called the Writer Cup instead of
Okay.
the Ryder Cup. We had
Right.
all the bloggers here at Barstool, all of the
Okay.
content creators.
Mhm.
We all showed up to Pinehurst and we did a, what was it, 6-on-6?
Yep.
6-on-6 Ryder Cup. It was incredible. And the first video just came out yesterday.
Okay.
People are going crazy about it. There's a video that has now gotten 18 million views on Twitter because
Wow.
of the controversy that ensued on this green.
Okay.
Match play.
I'm about to be part of the controversy.
Match play.
Okay.
scramble.
Match play scramble. 2v2
Two-man.
scrambles.
2-man scramble.
Yep.
Match play. Got it.
One team is putting for 4, and this is what happens.
Turn. It doesn't move.
Straight, yeah. So that's 5 then. Yeah.
No, it's 4.
No, but you knocked in for 5.
All right.
Well, hold on. That's match play though. If you've been putting for 5, it's a
that
5.
doesn't end our turn.
Yeah, it does. Then match
No,
play. That's
it
a hold
doesn't.
on, hold on,
Yes,
Aaron.
it
Hold on.
does.
Yes, it does.
I'm in for 5, and now
No,
he
no,
can
that's-
do better.
Not on the scramble. A scramble at 5 is a 5.
I haven't even shot yet.
Yeah, but too bad. That am I right?
That has never been how it works.
Anytime.
No, it's not. Since when have you ever played
Okay,
that
that's the
way?
way. That's the way it usually is. That's a 5. No, I'm just telling you the rules.
All right,
Aaron.
well,
If you
shut
know
up,
the
let me
rules, that's
play.
fine.
So
So then,
So Aaron makes
it.
Let's
all right.
Right.
They want to take a 4. It ends up being a 5 on the card.
right.
What do you? What do you?
Alfonso Ribeiro, thoughts?
So there are no actual rules for a scramble.
Okay.
It's a made-up game.
Right.
It's made up by the people participating in that game. It has to be determined beforehand, the format.
All right. We didn't do that. We didn't determine what it was.
I saw
Right.
a lot of comments being like it's their fault for not expressing what the rules were pre-first round.
That's what
that was like one of the top comments.
And that's,
Okay.
Like,
and that's the reality, right? Is that no one said, okay, just so you know, like you miss a putt, the other you mark it because if you go in, then that ball counts.
well, now we did see on the USGA, there's some blanket rule, right, where it's like, however many strokes, once the ball goes in the hole, that last stroke, that's just the score, right? Didn't we look that up?
Yeah, there was something similar, but it wasn't.
It's not an
scrambles-
official scramble rule,
exactly,
though.
yeah.
Right, like
It's
he
match
said, there is
play.
no
It's
rule.
match play.
It was just match play.
It
in
was
general.
match play
Yeah.
rules.
But match play, that is correct. Match play is whatever ball is holed out, that is the team score.
That was the word. The ball that is holed out, that's the score
Is
that
it
you take.
that-
So in that
is-
situation, it would be a 4 if there were
No,
the
it'd
rule.
be,
No,
it'd be a 5.
Oh, okay.
Because you hold it out. That's the score.
It's the first ball that holds out because Arian then makes his and it's a 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
But the reason why that is a common rule of match play, right? It wouldn't happen in a one-on-one,
Right.
Right? Because
It
you don't
is
have
a-
a second shot at it.
Right.
The purpose of that is you will putt differently knowing that there's a ball in the hole already.
Yeah.
That is
So
true.
now you take out break, your speed is different, right? All of that it's actually a strategy, right? So the strategy would be very simple. You lag it, right? Maybe try to make it, but if you don't make it, let's make sure it's right there. And then I'm going to play it inside the cup and I'm going to hit it 6 feet past.
Right.
I'm taking all the break out of it
Right.
and I'm going to bang this in the back of the cup. That's smart playing, right? So I play in a bunch of different match play things, 2-man match play deals. And whenever I do that, it's like my partner knows, all right, go ahead and just lag this up close. If it goes in, perfect. But do not hit this 5 feet past.
All right.
Because my ball's going 5 feet past. So on this video, technically both sides are right. Because no one established what the rules are. Are we playing scramble rules? Are we playing match play rules? What are we playing?
Right.
I would side with it was a 5.
Really?
I would side with
It was
that.
I was on the red team, so I was happy that it was a 5 because
I was on the blue team and I was hoping it was a 4.
Right, but I would have like
If you were playing in a match, all right, put devil's
I
advocate.
would be pissed.
If
Right.
you were on the blue team and you're Francis that just tapped that in, you're like, well, every match I've ever played in, it's usually all right.
No.
That's good. Really?
Every match I've ever played in, you don't put it in.
Wow. Yeah, because
You mark it.
because Kirk did not give them.
Right, so-
he did not say that was good.
And if he said it was good,
Right.
then then now that other one's in play.
Okay.
Because you didn't hold it.
Right.
Okay. It's that it is tearing the internet apart
All
right,
right,
now.
but
Because
at
people
the
are
end
like,
of
it's
the
a
day-
4, it's a 5, it's a 4.
At the end of the day, the voice of reason has to be like what the real rule is.
But
though.
there is no rule.
There is
Yeah.
a match play rule.
There is a match play rule.
It's not a scramble rule.
It's not a scramble rule. So that's the problem.
Right.
Right? If you're playing a match play scramble, right, then it's a different setup. So you can't just go by match play rules. But in match play, whatever balls hold out, that's your score.
That does make sense. It does change the strategy of the next putt.
Absolutely.
Of course it does.
That's the whole purpose of making that rule for match play,
Yeah.
right? Is what is the strategy and how do you use it?
Listen, Kirk is kind of a genius for just not saying anything there. Like he knew the rule.
Yes, but the question is that but knowing that rule doesn't mean the rule's in play.
Right.
Because you're playing a scramble.
We find ourselves in these mistakes all the time where we don't like talk about the rules of these ridiculous matches that we come up with.
You play in any tournament and the rules are there.
Right. Yeah.
Right? They if you go to and play in, a Mod Rashad's golf tournament, right? He's gonna give you a sheet
Yep.
that says these are the rules.
Yep.
Right? We're playing a 4-man scramble, right? You hit this ball, you go to play to the west one until you're holed out.
Yep.
Right? That's telling you that you can't go ahead of the next one.
Right.
Have you ever run into this situation?
I've not like to that extent where it's like it was
Oh, it
just
turned
like
into a
no,
whoa. They were yelling.
Yeah,
There
no,
was a lot of
I
yelling.
could tell that was. I could tell.
we-
I could tell you showed me the beginning of the video. I knew that video went in a different direction.
It did, yeah.
Especially because you were showing me the video like this.
Yeah.
Oh, that got real. That got real.
Yeah.
But like I would have, if I was standing there, I would have said to the guy in the red, right? I would have said, but I think for this situation, give it the 4 And from now on, we know that if it's a holdout,
Right.
right? It's hard to tell someone a rule retroactively,
Right.
That's the worst part of golf.
right? Like you get,
Yep.
nope, that was a rule.
I hate when.
Who knew that rule?
Right.
Who said it was a rule? Is
Right.
it actually a rule?
Right.
Is it in what book are we following?
Yeah.
Right.
Right? So scramble. There aren't rules for scramble. There isn't a set rule that is automatically understood.
Which is crazy. In golf, there's rules for everything. I feel like we got to
Because
make
scramble's
scramble
not
rule.
real.
It is. That's kind of real.
What I mean by that is that no governing body plays a scramble,
I see what you're saying.
Maybe
That's
they have to
right.
add it to the Ryder Cup.
right? Like they don't play a scramble.
No.
It's a 4-ball. It's
Alternate
foursomes,
shot, yeah,
right?
right.
So there are different, but scramble doesn't have an actual rule,
Right.
at least that I'm aware of, right?
I don't
I
know
think
that it
you're right.
does.
Yeah.
So because of that, how are we determining what's real or what's not?
It's like beer pong. Everybody's got their own rules.
Yeah, so so in that case, I go, I think the guy in the red is mostly right because of the match play element of it. But if you haven't discussed the rules, then let's make the rule now and then we'll go from here.
I think that was a great recap. I think
Yeah.
Kirk will like that for sure because it's sound reasoning, and I think that it shows that we were all just wrong by not having the rules. Just
And
in
I think
place in the
Francis, the guy who holed out, he eventually said that's a 5.
beginning. Right.
So
It is what it is. It was. It definitely caught golf Twitter on fire yesterday.
But those are the great conversations.
oh, I know.
right? That's what makes this all fun.
right, I'm like, we're happy that it happened. Like,
Right.
we're happy that we didn't say what the rules were.
Right.
Because then you get this.
Because you get conversation.
That's right.
Right? And the best way to affect is to have a conversation about it,
Right.
right? So you're affecting change because now every person that's watched that video and they playing something, they're like, hey, what's the rule,
yes,
y'all?
right.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Changing the game.
Hey,
We're
you got
change-
it.
we're
Is
changing
it-
the game.
Is it a 4? Is it a 5? What are we doing? I just want to know before it happens because one of us is going to hit a putt and I'm going to put it in and then it's going to be a problem and I'm going to have to punch in your face. It's going to be bad.
They had a real conversation at the end of that video, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, Alfonso, thank you for communicating in such an amazing communicating way as you do on our podcast, as always. Check them out on Dancing with the Stars, on America's Funniest Home Videos. We really appreciate you coming in, as
I
always.
love coming here, guys.
Yeah, man.
It's always the best.
So much
Always
fun.
the
Thanks for
best.
making the time. Yeah, we
Always,
really appreciate it.
always. You
I
know, every time I come to New York, you guys got me.
we got to get you
Appreciate
on
it.
a golf course one day.
I know.
Yeah.
Instead
I
of
know.
these concrete walls.
I know. We need to do this.
Yeah,
We need. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
And let's actually do it
All
this
right.
time.
Let's do it. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
brothers.
man.